So with the meta the way it is right now, like say if our opponent's playing, I don't know, Elblick, maybe Branded. Uh, Now is a good time to be playing kaijus, or not kaijus, I mean unaffected monsters. Got a little ahead of myself there. So for example, with Branded, the only way they have to out like Ultimate Falcon would be with this. So this gains attack equal to the combined original levels of the monsters used for its fusion summon, and it is unaffected by the effect of any other monster special summon from the extra deck. But a lot of people probably aren't even running this, and even if they are, it's not something they can do immediately. And it's not necessarily free either. So, for example here, they need a monster with 2,500 or more attack. The only which I expect them to be running would be this one, I guess. There's Albion, and then there is Dramaturge. So not entirely impossible for them to go into, but there's a limit, a bit of a limit. Whoops, wrong card. So this monster gains at maximum 16,000 attack here. So if you made an arrival with 5,000, it would not be possible for your opponent to realistically out the arrival, because it's unaffected and it has more attack points than they can reasonably get on their monster. But they probably... wait a second. Does Titanic Clad not require Fallen of Elbaz? Yeah, it does. So Fallen of Elbaz is level 4, and they can use a level 8 monster, so that is 12,000. So actually, if you're at around 4,000, they already can't beat over you. It's not really possible. And then there is both Ultimate Falcon and what's the other one? Hold up. We have well, does it have ultimate in its name? Maybe not. Well, I don't think anyone would be playing this, but alright. Raid Raptor Final Fortress. So it's possible technically for your opponent to get over Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon, or Raid Raptor Final Fortress is not really possible. So unaffected by other cards' effects, that actually protects you against Super Poly. So all of these, not possible to Super Poly if they're truly a towers and unaffected. If there was something more in line with like Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray, which you can make very hard to out. Like, you can make him untargetable and not really... well, you can give him some destruction protection, but that's about it. I guess he can have an Omni Negate as well, but that will not protect you against Super Poly. So, in this case, if we get out the Arrival, Raid Raptor Final Fortress, or Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon, our opponent probably would not be able to... well, they just can't out this at all. Even if this is the only monster on our board, they can't do anything about it. So there's some different ways that I know of that you can go into Ultimate Falcon and Final Fortress, but basically what you do is you go into Arsenal Falcon, and then you could search it with like Raid Raptor Ystrix, or potentially ZS Ascended Sage, because this is a rank up normal spell. You can actually search it, as you can see here, off of ZS Ascended Sage. So then this just needs to target a Raid Raptor XYZ monster you control and special summon from your extra deck one Raid Raptor monster that's 2 ranks higher than that target. So we just need to go into Raid Raptor 5, so in that case we would use a rank 5 Raid Raptor that we would go into with Raider's Knight. So we could use, for example, Raid Raptor Blaze Falcon. And the effect on Blaze Falcon isn't that bad either. And so we go into Blaze Falcon, rank up into Arsenal Falcon, then when Arsenal Falcon is sent to the graveyard, however we do it, doesn't really matter. But it just needs a Raid Raptor attached to it. So potentially you could even use Zexelfield, and then when you just summon Raid Raptor Arsenal Falcon, you can attach to it a Raid Raptor. So we'd probably just use, I don't know, Final Fortress or Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon, attach that, and then when we send Raid Raptor Arsenal Falcon to the graveyard, we'll special summon a Raid Raptor not special, XYZ summon. I believe this is counted as an XYZ summon, is it? Or is this not? No, it's a special summon. So this cheats it out. I don't think this is properly summoned then, but either way we have Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon or Raid Raptor Final Fortress at this point, and our opponent will not be able to activate anything. Well, I mean they can, but nothing that will affect us in any significant way. Like, Fallen of Albaz does not actually work, I believe. So this is an effect, and we are not affected by other cards' effects. So if it's a cost, for example, like a kaiju, or because this is like part of its summoning condition, which makes it a little bit different, then they could get over our Ultimate Falcon that way. But if you look at all the branded lists and whatnot, they actually don't really have any way to remove, for example, Final Fortress. If Final Fortress is on the field in attack position, they will just have like absolutely no way to remove Final Fortress. And the Arrival is pretty much in the same tier as well, and very difficult to remove for them. I guess, for example, they might be able to make Starving Venom, but like even if Starving Venom targets your Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon or your Final Fortress here, it can't do anything because it's not affected, I believe. Neither of these effects should work, so if you only control these two, then Starving Venom would not be able to actually gain any attack, actually. Because this only works on your opponent's special summoned monsters. Yeah. And once it's destroyed, it destroys all your opponent's special summoned monsters, which doesn't matter because you're unaffected. And for example, Dracoback doesn't work either. They can't return our card because it is unaffected. Super Poly doesn't work, like I said before, because, well, I think I mentioned this at least, but Super Poly, this is actually an effect, so it can't actually Super Poly Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon. or Raid Raptor Final Fortress, so they would have to specifically Kaiju, and that would be their only out, assuming they're running it. That or they play to deck us out first, which honestly I don't think it's going to happen. So some honorable mentions here. We have Blackwing Full Armor Master here. So the issue here with Full Armor Master is its stat line isn't good enough. It's 3000, 3000, so it can just be beat over by like a Mirror Jade, and you don't really have an interruption here. So that doesn't really pan out too well for us. And it's kind of the same thing with our OG tower, Apocryphort Towers. Its stat line isn't good enough. Well, you have this here, all special summon monsters lose 500 attack and defense. So, if they special summon Mirror Jade actually, I believe. Mirror Jade doesn't have enough, and Guardian Chimera. Yep, Guardian Chimera does not have enough to get over this as well. But, our, the Tentaclad actually can get over it. So, they have an out to it, I suppose. It's not necessarily completely free, but it's significantly more doable than outing Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon or Final Fortress. Mostly Final Fortress here, or the rival Cyberside Ignister. There is also the option here of going Metaltron, and Metaltron actually requires itself to be tribute some of this card face up. You can tribute continuous spell and trap cards you control, as well as monsters. So this is also a towers of sorts, and after they destroy Metaltron, you can go ahead and bring out Naturia Exterio, which is pretty insane because this would completely kill Branded, for example, and not as much to the same extent Oblique, but depending on the situation, this can really do some damage because it's not once per chain, not once per turn or anything. So the thing about this is your opponent needs stuff to resolve. So aside from Super Poly, I guess, which you're not a good attribute for them, so they need their like branded opening, their branded in red, their branded fusion. They need to activate these cards, and the only way they could do that would maybe be activating branded loss, which you can also negate anyways. So they don't have really much of a good play if you summon Naturia Exterio for branded specifically, but I'm not sure how well this does against other lists, honestly, so yeah, definitely not the best option because I think just for consistency reasons, these are probably just more effective than Metaltron and not as hard to set up, I don't think. So that's about it. See ya.